Yeah, so let's knock out number one. Here's what I found about the worksheet you're about to do. As I worked through them, I thought number one was fine, hard, but fine. Two was easily the hardest, no doubt about it. Then three and four, honestly, they felt like they just got easier, like the numbers just fell into line more agreeably. So I don't know what your experience will be, but one and two are definitely the hardest ones. So let's just dive right in. Like, let's not wimp around the subject matter here. Yeah, so this is assignment number 22, and this is problem number one. So what's the first thing we're going to do? Again, you should be on separate paper 100%. What's the first thing we're going to do? Hmm. Yeah, build a matrix, right? And so we're going to take the numbers off the system, just ditch the equal signs get replaced by that augmentation sign, and then the X's, Y's, and Z's all go bye-bye. So we're just going to take a moment and pluck all those off. So we're going to have 3, -4, -1, and then put your line, and then 4, -3, -1, 2, 4. So I'm often lecturing you guys about the importance of being careful. I kept getting weird answers on this problem. And then I recalculated. I was, you don't get angry or anything like that. Maybe say a couple of dirty words, but you're not really like, don't get raged or something. But then I went back and I realized that I'm not proud of this, but I'll own it, that right there I had put a 5 and not a -5. And so I mean, we're all human and we all make mistakes, but be very hyper vigilant and double check, triple check all of your numbers to make sure that you haven't missed anything. If you miss something, the chances of it working are astronomically low. Okay. For this all to come into harmony would be virtually unheard of. So once we're sure that we're good, then let's get this done. So does anyone remember our first objective from yesterday? There's 6 jobs to do, and we have to do them in a pretty specific order. Say again, bud. I want to take that back. You don't have to make these ones. That was something that I realized after the fact that I wish I hadn't said. That was my old version. I kind of fell back into my old ways. These numbers do not have to be ones, for the record. They can be anything, okay? Ideally, if you're going for true row reduced echelon form, those 3 red numbers need to be ones. But I don't need you to get all the way down to row reduced echelon form. What I need for you to do is not worry about the red numbers, but the other numbers in the matrix. So you'll recall that we have to put zeros in very particular places. I hope you recall. Which number in this matrix needs to be destroyed first? Good job. -3. So I'm going to circle 3, and I want you'll notice when you look at my answer keys that I still do this. I circle my worker B number, um, and then I'm going to place a target, like I'll denote it with a color like yellow. And for me, yellow is my first target. And I'm going to use purple and yellow together to destroy yellow. All right. Purple does not change. The top row, the worker B row, does not change. So what we're going to do, and you have tons of room now since you're just on notebook paper, is you're going to leave an appropriate amount of space on your paper, maybe, I don't know, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Leave yourself some room, and then let's build a new matrix right here. And the reason is because we want to copy over the top row. I want to make sure that we're all clear that this row will not be modified. No row ones were harmed in the making of this video. So we're going to copy that down. Make sure you leave enough room because in that space is where you're going to put your row operation, the definition or declaration. So how can I use purple and yellow? This ought to be one of the easiest questions anyone asks you all day. How can I use purple and yellow to make yellow go poof? It's a very simple operation. Yeah, I mean, it's old school, like easy for you guys, right? Just simple, basic row one plus row two. So we're going to declare that and we're going to write it here because remember, your row operation declaration doesn't go next to the worker bee. It goes next to where the result of that operation is going to be. So I think to try to alleviate some of the stress that some of you felt yesterday, rather than declaring both row operations, let's just do one at a time. So let's complete the red row operation and place the result here in row two. We only want one thing out of this, and that's a 0 right below the 3. That's it. Everything else that happens, happens. So if we add everything in row 1 to row 2, the purple and the yellow add together to make 0. So 1 down, 5 to go. And now we have to complete this. You have to see this through. So we're going to take everything in row 1 and add it to row 2. What's the next number going to be? Good job. -5. And it's really important that you stop me the moment I lose you. Don't wait. Because if you have a question like, how did you get that? There's probably 3 other people that have the same question and just don't want to ask. So make sure you be the hero and ask if you get lost. What's the next number going to be? 1. And the last number is going to be 8. Very good. So the first one is complete. Our next objective, I'm going to erase this yellow now. Our next objective is to kill that number. So yellow is our new target. Even if there's an opportunity to use some other way, you have to use the worker bee row in every calculation that you do for this step, okay? If you don't, zeros can get destroyed. So it's imperative that worker be involved in everything you do for each step. We're still in step 1, FYI. So what's going to be the row operation that I use to murder off that yellow number? Purple has to destroy yellow. Yeah, and again, I see that there's a relationship here that 3 can't be made into 5 without using fractions, and we surely don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply them by each other to create that commonality. What's that row operation going to look like? Help me define that. So 5 row 1s plus 3 row 3s. Correct. So what we just wrote in red is going to be what we abide by for the next minute or so as we go through and do all 4 calculations. So if we had Heidi helpers at this point, we would take a Heidi helper, which I'm not going to actually do this, I'm going to erase, but we want to now very deliberately ignore that row. I'm obviously going to erase that. That would be crazy not to, but I'm just saying, like, you don't want to look at that. You want to jump top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, right? Okay. So let's do the row operation that you said we're going to do, and that is 5 tops plus 3 bottoms. What's our first answer going to be right here? 0. It's of course the entire point was to make that 0. Now stay strong. 5 tops. And I will say this, that sometimes it helps to write down your work as you go. I know this from personal experience. If I take 5 tops and 3 bottoms, sometimes when I add them in my head, like multiplying, store, multiply, store, bring out of storage and re-add, the brain can do amazingly dumb things, mine included. So if you multiply the top by 5, it's not bad to show a little bit of scratch work to say, okay, 5 times the top row is -20, right? And what's 3 times the bottom row? -12. Add those together, and what do you get? -32. You don't have to show the scratch work. I'm just telling you, you should trust my experience. And from my experience, not writing those down, it caused me several slowdowns as I made the answer key yesterday. I was just being stubborn because I do this once a year. And then over the next 355 days, I kind of don't do it. And then I come back and go, oh, yeah, I should probably show more work, right? So let's do it again. 5 tops, 3 bottoms. So what's 5 times this top? -5. What's 3 times this bottom? Add those together, and what do you get? Perfect. and then stay with it. 5 tops is 20. 3 bottoms, 3 of where I'm circling with my pen.
38.
Negative 48. And if you put 48 there, then that's immediately your whole problem is now unraveled. So um, super careful, right? So 20 and negative 48 add together to make, bless you, what do they make? Okay, so we have survived phase 1. Now, at this point, I am going to um, take advantage of something that was gifted to me. Do you see it? Your bottom row should be well in your focus right now. I can divide them all by 4. I will tell you that in my answer key, I divided them all by -4 just because I wanted to take the opportunity to change this one to a positive. That would just make the next step a little bit easier for me. So I divided, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to divide all of the elements in the bottom row by -4, and I'll show my work here. I'm dividing this row by -4. Now, as annoying as it is, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to recopy the top 2 rows of the matrix. Do not erase numbers because you're communicating with me. When you put work on paper and give it to me, it's a communication between you and me. And if you erase numbers and I don't get to see what was there, then my brain goes into a spiral and then I don't know what happened. So it is annoying to have to copy rows down, but boo-hoo. All right, so every number in the bottom row is going to get divided by -4. The 0 is going to stay as a 0. What's -32 going to become?
8.
+8, because we're dividing by a negative. What's -20 going to become?
5.
And -28, it's going to become 7. Good. Do you have any questions now that we're 1/3 of the way home? Who's my worker bee now? Because it's time for phase 2.
5.
Correct. So I personally, I have the benefit of colors. I don't know if you use colors, but I use purple. I'll try to be consistent. So purple indicates that that's the number that's going to be involved. He's going to have his grubby little mitts and everything that we're about to do. And he has 2 jobs to do. His first target is yellow. So, I mean, you're going to find this to be very rinse and repeat. It's not as hard as some of you thought it was yesterday. It's just a lot of stuff to do. So how am I going to use purple and yellow in conjunction with one another to destroy yellow?
Them to 20.
I got to get them up to 20s, right? So again, it's that multiply them by each other idea, but I need to turn one of them negative. So I'm going to go ahead and do -4 R2s plus 5 R1s. And now I'm going to rebuild my matrix wall. Which row should I copy over? The second row should be copied because that's where my worker bee is. So 0, -5, 1, and then 8 will be the one that is unchanged in the following couple of minutes. Now we're going to be very patient with this. Remember, we're taking everything in the middle times -4, and then everything in the top times 5, and then adding them together. So we're going to go one at a time. So we're going to start where this green arrow is pointing. We're going to take -4 times the middle, which is 0, plus 5 times the top, which is 15, and 0 plus 15 makes 15. And again, repeat. So moving my green arrow over now to the second column. What's -4 times the middle? What's 5 times the top? And there's our 0. Don't really have to show work on that step because like it's a foregone conclusion. Like we wrote the rule that would make that zero, but still, just to be safe. Okay, green arrow is now moving to the right. And again, just be patient with this. What's negative 4 times the middle?
4,
And what's 5 times the top?
5,
No.
5.
Yes. Add those together, and what do you get? Correct. And we go again. I'll move my green arrow now all the way to the right. What is negative 4 times the middle? Negative 32. What's 5 times the top? 20. Add those together. And that operation is complete. Check, double check every calculation. Make sure I'm telling you, I do not have words that I'm legally allowed to use, especially not while I'm recording a video like this, to properly stress to you how helpful this is. And you definitely should trust me by now, when it comes to matters of this. And I'm telling you, putting those calculations down helps a lot. You can also just type them into your calculator if you're deliberate. Okay. But if you're like me and you try to resist using a calculator whenever possible, then having these is massively helpful. So, going to get rid of this now, and we're going to move on to our next objective. Our next objective is I'm going to move my yellow. I don't want yellow up here anymore. Who's my new target? Who's in the crosshair? 8 is my new target. So now I'm using purple and yellow together to destroy yellow, and I have to write a new rule. And this is pretty common. Parker's already said it twice. I think it was you. This is the multiply them by each other trick again, right? This time, though, I don't have to change any signs, which is nice. That was the foresight in the last step when I divided by a negative, was by using some foresight. I knew if I could make that positive, then I wouldn't need to change any signs, which is nice. So what's my row operation going to be? Help me define it.
Row 2, 8 row 2.
So 8 row 2s plus add a kid. That's how you do it. We know if we take the middle times 8 and the bottom times 5 that we're going to get a pair of opposite 40s. And now we're going to go through and we're going to do this one at a time. I don't think I need to show work for the first one because 8 zeros and 5 zeros both make 0. And the last I checked, 0 times 0 makes 0. Right? That 0, these zeros are protected because of the order that we're doing this in. We already know the next one's going to be 0. I don't feel like I need to show work on that. My next one is going to be 8 middles, which is 8, plus 5 bottoms, which is, and 8 plus 25 makes 33. Repeat. 8 middles makes 64. 5 bottoms makes
35.
64 plus 35.
80.
Here's what I can tell you for sure. And this will be your first real opportunity. This will be where you realize if you're doing well or you're not doing well. You'll notice in the 0, the bottom row, that the 33 and the 99 can divide, right? So if that is not true, that was my red flag. That was when I had to go back and figure out like a doofy, I missed a negative, was I had like 33 and 125 or something. I was like, what happened? And it was my fault, but it gave me a chance to go back and catch it before all hope was lost. We've only done like, I don't know, a few steps, right? So you can go back now. It's annoying, but you can go back and recalculate everything at this point. But we're gonna go ahead, buddy.
Can you divide all that down is red one? Can you simplify everything if it's divisible? Right?
Everything that's divisible at this point, let's take a quick break. Let's pause from the row reduction process and let's reduce every row that we can. Because we're going to do the bottom row anyways. You better agree that we can divide this bottom row by 33, right? We'd be crazy not to. But while we're here, if we're going to throw away a step anyways, what do you notice about the top row? Yeah, I mean, if we're going to throw away a step, let's get two things done while we're here, right? Um, like if you're going to the store to get milk, you might as well pick up a loaf of bread because you're already there. You know what I'm saying? So if we divide this row by 3, now what we're going to have is a matrix that's ready for step 3, like ready for the final move. So the one that's not going to change is the middle. He's still going to be 0, -5, 1, 8. But I'm going to have improved numbers. Some might say that what I'm doing is a waste of time. That's their opinion, but I believe that if we can make our numbers easier to work with, that we're not wasting time. So my bottom row is going to be 0, 0, 1, 3. I like that. Top row is going to be 5, 0, -3, -4. And it's nice. It lines up nicely and it's preparing itself for the final step. The final step now is to declare a new worker bee. Who is my worker bee now? The one in the far lower right corner is my guy. He says, let me be a part of everything you're about to do. If you do not use him as your worker bee, you will destroy zeros that you previously made and you'll have to start over. Do not invent your own method for this, okay? Row reduction is pretty strict. So I'm going to leave a little space. And I know that you're not able to work. So again, I keep cheating and just going sideways. You've probably had to wind down again to the left side and start kind of over on the left, right? That's okay. And you document that however you need to keep your organization intact. But I've got this infinite left to right. I'm just going to take advantage of it. So, I'm going to copy the bottom row down. So I'm going to just copy over my 0, my 1, and my 3. Now, what is my first row? Who's my first target, by the way? 1. It makes sense to kind of work upwards. So you could kill the -3 first, but I work away I do this in the same order every time. So 1 is my first target. What row operation do I need to use purple and yellow together to kill yellow? I love that. And I could not have said that better. That's exactly what I would have done. I would have taken the opposite of the bottom row. So -R3, that just means opposite R3 plus unmodified R2. Simple. If I can turn the purple one into a -1 and then add him to his homie up above, boof, mission accomplished. So let's go through and complete that row operation. The opposite of 0 plus 0 is, you guessed it, 0. The opposite of 0 plus -5 is -5. And I'm not showing work on those ones. I don't even know if I need to show work here. Like, I don't want to set the example that you have to show everything you do. Like, this is easy. What's the opposite of 1 plus 1? 0. And I'll show a little bit here just in case. But like the opposite of the bottom row is -3 plus the middle row, which is 8. What's -3 plus 8? 5. This is your second opportunity to check if you're doing things right. What do you notice about the numbers in the second row? They're divisible. So that's another moment to check. If you got a 5 and a 9, then you need to stop right there and say, okay, well, my first check was successful. This one was not. I probably made a mistake in the last 30 seconds. But the second check is passed, and now it's time to finish the job. And so I'm going to move my yellow target to the final number up here. Got it? And again, I'm using purple and yellow as a team to make yellow go away. That's the goal. What is the row operation that I will use? Perfection. I'm going to use 3 of the bottom rows, so 3 R3s plus unmodified top one, R1. Got it? Now we're going to see this through one by one. So we're going to start with 3 times the bottom, which is 0, plus unmodified top, which is 5. Last I checked, that's just a 5. This next one is Child's Play. A bunch of zeros plus some zeros makes, well, gee, let me guess, 0. We already know the outcome of purple yellow. Triple one is 3 plus yellow is 0. And so what we're hoping the number that we get here is -10, 20, 0, 5, 35, something like that. We need something that's going to divide by the 5. And so let's see what happens. If we take the triple the bottom, which is 3, we get 9. Add the unmodified top number. What's 9 minus 4? We're done. Not done, but done. And I hope that felt better than it did yesterday. It needs to be deliberate, patient, organized. I'd strongly advise that you find either colored pencils or some kind of thing that you can use to keep your poop in a group while you're navigating that minefield. I don't know how many math problems we just did, but it was a lot, and not one of them can be off. Aye, aye, aye. So now it's time to cash this in. What does the top row say to me? What does this say? It says that 5x's have to equal 5. You must understand that this 5 that I'm going to circle in red is the x coordinate, right? Came off the front end of the system, and the number on the right side, the augmented matrix, is a 5. So 5x must equal 5, which means that x definitively equals 1. What does the second row say to me? It says that -5y equals 5, which means that y equals -1. And then the last row needs no dividing because it's done, right? It literally says 1z equals 3. So no need to, don't put something silly like 1z and then do something crazy like divide both sides by 1. So then our final answer is there. It's 1, -1, +3. So I didn't mean to take up your whole hour, but I knew after yesterday, when some of my strongest students are coming to me and telling me that this was confusing, that's when I, as a teacher, I need that feedback. That's when I say, okay, pump the brakes. Let's do this again. So you do still have 15, 13 minutes or whatever of class. So I'm gonna have you now try number 2. Tomorrow's definitely going to be a work day. Okay, I don't intend to sit here and go through another problem with you, especially not today. But I want you guys now to pair up or do whatever it is you want to do. I do want you on task, boys. Got it? I don't know if you can get number 2 done before 8:38, but it's worth a shot, right? That feel a little better?
Yep.
All right, then let's do this. And I'll post that up, what I just recorded, I'll post it up. So if there's any part of it later on today, I don't know how many of you work at home, but if you do, you could always go back, and the benefit of YouTube is pause, rewind, stuff like that.